what my favorite thing about mythology in general is, specifically Greek mythology, is that the stories were passed down from person to person. There wasn't really a written account of it until recently. It was just stories that people told to each other. So in the interest of that, I would like to tell you a story about my favorite Greek myth. A long time ago, there was a gentleman named Uranus, or Uranus if you want to be funny, and he was married to a woman named Gaia. Those names should sound pretty familiar. Needless to say, Gaia wanted her son Kronos to cut off Uranus's dick and balls for reasons. And so they waited until he was hard up for Gaia, and then Kronos came in and gave him the old chopping pop. Yeah. And then he flogged them into the sea. And the blood that sprayed from his cock and balls hit the land, and out sprouted the giants. And then when his dick and balls landed in the sea frothed and foamed, and the semen from the balls birthed forth Aphrodite from a mountain of green sea foam. Why am I telling you a story about Titanic testicles? Because myths like this cause the people to build giant effigies, epitaphs. What's the word I'm looking for? Things like the statue of Zeus, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, the Colossus of Rhodes, the Lighthouse of Alexandria, the Pyramids of Giza. There's a word for this that I can't quite think of. Oh yeah. The 7 Wonders of the World. Today, we're going to be talking about a game that takes those 7 wonders and pits them against each other. 7 Wonders, Duel. 7 Wonders Duel, a game by Antoine Balza and Bruno Catala, is a small version of a big version of a game called 7 Wonders, in which you're drafting cards and getting sets to do things. It's an older game, it's a fine game, and this is a 2-player version of that very fine game. So what we have is your Pyramid of Giza of cards. Now these cards are laid out to simulate the drafting. So one person will take a card, and then another person will take a card, and if there's ever a card that is not covered by another card, then you flip that card. Now there are 4 types of cards in the game, not including guilds, which, man. So there are your blue cards, which represent blue things, and they will give you straight victory points at the end of the game. You see that symbol? Don't worry about it. There are the brown cards that will have a resource on it that you can use to build other cards. There are commerce cards that let you buy things for things, and there's sciencey cards that let you do science stuff. There's also gray versions of the brown cards that will give you other resources. So if you want to build these things, you got to spend that money, unless there is a requirement on one of the cards that have. So let's say you want to build this glass works that produces glass, you have to spend a coin. Here are the coins. You're going to be spending a lot of time trying to get them coins, but sometimes you might not even need to pay it. So for example, if earlier in the game I managed to get this here scriptorum that has a little bookie right there, later in the game, oh, I have to spend this or a bookie? Well, I have a bookie, so I can take that for freezies. And what? I matched 2 science thingies, which means I get to take one of these thingies. Oh, up there's the board. So whenever you do war, this moves, and then you get victory points at the end, and then it makes the other person spend money. But these are other things you can get, and these are random every game, and they'll give you special abilities if you happen to match 2 of the sciences. So on your turn, you're going to take a card, and you're going to do one of 3 things. You're either going to build the building by paying the cost, and let's say a building, for example, this here cost a whatever, a bricky and a woody and a glassy. That means I have to have woodies, brickies, and glassies in my tableau to be able to pay for them. I don't actually spend the card, I just have to have it, and it produces that resource. It's very, very simple. Don't overcomplicate things. Or I can discard a card. Let's say I want this card because I don't want you to have it because I see you're doing shit over there. I'm going to take it and I'm going to yeet it. And when you yeet it, you get 2 coins plus 1 coin for every yellow commerce card you have, regardless of what's on it. So for example, let's say I want to yeet this here palisade. Nope, I'm going to do something that's less embarrassing. Let's say I want to yeet this here pharmacist, because I don't want you to have that, and I don't have the coins to spend on it, so I'll get rid of it. So I get 2 coins, plus 1 coin for every one of these here. That's going to give me a total of 5 coins. Not a bad way to make money. And making money is very hard in the game, so you're going to want to do that a lot. Now, the last thing you can do with a card is construct a wonder. Oh yeah, that's the name of the game. At the beginning of the game, you have chosen via drafting, sort of, your wonders you will create. Now, in the game of 7 wonders, only 7 wonders can be wondered, but there are 8 wonders in play. So what you do is you'll take the card, you'll give a little tuck job right there, make sure you have the appropriate resources to spend, and then you get to do all the things. So, for example, there's a lot of symbology in here, symbolism, symbols that you gotta memorize, stuff. So that makes the other person get rid of that card. You get to move up on the track. That's what this is up here. So blink. And then you get 3 victory points. Victory points are all calculated at the end of the game with your handy dandy, this thing. So for example, I could have the other person lose some money. I get to take another turn. This gets to be anything it wants to be. So the wonders are not something to ignore because they're going to give you them a juicy points that you're going to need at the end of the game. Now the game is over when one of 3 things happen. Thing number 1. You have managed to walk this little pew pew war token all the way to the end and won. That is how you do it. You do that by marching your ass down there, and the position of this is the difference between the two. So if you have one of those and the other person has 3 of those, then you know you do the fucking math. 2. Another way that you can win is if you put the big brain on Brad and get all the sciences. There are 6 science symbols. The only thing the symbols stand for is that you need 6 of them in order to win. So you get all 6 of them, you win immediately. And also keep in mind that when you start matching 2, you get to get these things, and those are just like extra little powers, including another symbol that you could use to win. What it's most likely going to come down to, if everyone is paying attention, is score. And that's when your handy dandy score sheet comes into play. I don't know. I keep wanting to say a resource card. So here's what one might look like at the end of the game. You calculate your victory points from all of your cards, because all the cards that you're playing might have victory points on them. So colors, 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 colors from all your wonders. So those are the points there. Any victory points you may have received from your fancies. Any victory points for money. For every 3 monies is 1 victory point, so keep that in mind. And then victory points from your wah up here, because depending on where you are, you get more victory points per wah. And then you calculate it up. You see that you lost way back in 2016 against your wife, and then you throw this away, so there is no evidence whatsoever. And that's it. The game ends after 3 rounds of varying pyramid shapes, so top to bottom, then an upside down pyramid, and then whatever that thing is at the bottom. It does a really good job of like setting up the drafty style, and it's really fun. It's easy. You take a card and either put it in front of you or just, that's it. It's really easy. If you ever need a resource that you don't have, you can spend $2 plus $1 for every of this is in the other one, so you're buying it from them and not from them, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's easy, it's fun, it's a fine game, but I know what you're asking yourself. You're asking yourself, Billy, why did I have to listen to your story earlier about castration and sea balls and all this stuff? Well, I will tell you, because as a game, 7 Wonders Duel is good. 7 Wonders Duel with the Pantheon expansion is great. Bum, 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 bum. The expansion slides right up top, and that is wonderful. And up here, you're going to put some of these sweet ass god cards. Look at them, Pantheon, sexy bitches in the bow. Look at that bow. Look at that sexy bow. And you're going to put them up here. And they are going to have special little doobly powers that you can do, because now, in addition to your 3 actions, you get to do 1 more. So what's going to happen before we get to that? Your new action is activating a card from the Pantheon. Now the way this is chosen is during the game, when we had our little setup right there, there's going to be these tokens. Now these tokens are going to be put face down on a handful of cards, and whenever you take or flip that card, you will put that token in front of you. And what that means is you'll take the corresponding deck, you'll give it a flippy-looky-doo, you'll pick which one you want, you'll put one back on the deck and the other one wherever you want up there face down. At the end of the first round, this will be filled with 5 things because there's only 5 tokens, and then they get flipped. And those are extra things you can do. Now they'll get taken away and they have special powers that give you extra little bitty thingies to do. And they are a lot of fun because when you take this action, you just pay the cost right there, but it doesn't require a card from the pyramid, so it's a good way to get the game to go longer. Look at this one. It takes some money, but then you get some money. That's pretty good. Now I'm sure you're asking, why are there two different numbers here? That's because this right here, the cards closer to me, are going to cost me less, and the cards farther away are going to cost more. So if I put something there, I'm like, oh, I really want that, but that's going to cost me a lot. So maybe the other party who is having to put something down, let's say they have to choose something, they're going to put the things that you want further away from you, or the things that they want a little bit closer. Now during the second phase, they're going to have these little offering tokens, and they have like -3, -2, and -4. That's not money you lose. That's a discount on something. So let's say I want to buy this little honking thing here that's 4, and I have a -4. Well, guess who gets to take Maz home to mama? And in the last act, or act 3, if you will, we get rid of those guild cards, which are kind of problematic because they're going to funk with the score, and instead you get these. These will work the same way as they did before. You're going to get victory points based on how many of them you have, because there are going to be 4 of them. And you're going to get victory points based on how many you have. 1 is worth 5, 2 is 12, all 3 is 21. Now you do have to pay a handsome amount of resources for this. However, if you got one of them gods that match, you get it for freezy. Now at the time of making this video, there are only 2 expansions. One just came out called Armada or Armando or Armano, whatever. I heard that's not very good, so this is the main one that you're going to want to get. Let's take a look at some of these cards just because I like the art on them. First, we have the Greeks. So we have your Aphrodite. Those are some sexy points she gives you. We have Zeus that causes you to get rid of some cards. And we have Hades, which also causes some discardy shit. I do enjoy it when Hades is depicted not as like an undead, evil, whatever, but just as a dude with a bad job. Look, there's Cerberus back there. Now we also have the Phoenician gods. I'm not too familiar with them. There is Tanit, to give you all that money. There's Baal, which is Warhammer. And Astarte, which is also that's also Warhammer. Anyway, and then we do have your Egyptian gods here. We have, Isis. We have and Anubis. And then the green ones are Mesopotamian gods. Here we go. We have Ishtar, we have Nisaba, and we have Enki. And then last but not least, we have your Roman gods. These are more of your military types because the colors also match the type of thing that they benefit. So obviously science, commerce, goods, and that kind of thing. So that's really, really good. And then we have Minerva, we have Neptune, and we have Mars. I feel like this is cheating a little bit because we know that's Poseidon and we know that's Ares, but I'm going to give it to them because in Greek mythology, Ares is not seen as like a positive thing. So the god of war, Ares, is usually like a negative detriment, like he's going to come and fuck up our lands. But in Rome, Mars is considered the good shit. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is that. Let's do some housekeeping. It is for 2 players. Obviously, the name is Duel. It's 2 players. If you want to play this with more than 2 people, go buy 7 Wonders. It's good. It is for ages 10 and up, because who the fuck cares? And 30 minutes. It is a short game, even with the expansion. I do love an expansion that adds stuff to the game without adding length to the game. Now, I've played this with Phil. I played this with my wife a lot. You saw that she beat me. I beat Phil. If you're not paying attention, the science and the war victory tracks, they'll sneak up on you. So you got to be aware of that. Even if you're not going for that, you got to be aware of that so they can't fuck you up. Now, the game itself, as I mentioned, when I first played it, I thought it was okay. Even now, I think the base game is okay. But when you add on the Pantheon, it gives you more to do. That one extra thing, that one little wrinkle in the pickle, that one little wrinkle in the severed nut is enough for this game to go from good, as I mentioned, to great. Now, I saw on the Board Game Geeks that there's a gentleman who has played like 100 times, and he's broken this down way more than I ever could and ever would, but I'm not that guy. He pointed out some things with it that I haven't experienced yet because I haven't played it as much as him, but maybe one day I will. I love everything, like the little, look, it slides onto there. That's really cool. Everything fits into their individual expansion boxes, or in their boxes, so that is, ooh, that's nice. And over here, we slide this one in. Ooh, oh. That's very nice. I do wish this fit into this, but it don't do that. I can buy things online to make it happen, but whatever. Seven Wonders Duel is a fantastic game with the expansion. It's not perfect. I feel like it's missing something, but I think that something that it's missing is just more. I want more variety. I want more wonders. I want more gods. I want an expansion to the expansion to give me more of the expansion. Now, the expansion does, of course, give you more wonders, and it gives you more regular cards to help kind of combo and benefit and work with those things and the new things that they implemented. And I like it. I do like it a lot. I think that it's a game that is deceptively simple. You may look at it and you're like, oh, I forget how to play that. But what you're doing is you're taking a card and you're doing one of three things. If you don't want to take a card and you got the money to spend, go talk to the gods. See if they can help you out. Seven Wonders Duel. And now, the Pantheon is in my hard 100. I think this is a great game. Every time I see it, I'm like, oh man, I should play that. Oh man, I should play that. I like Seven Wonders normally. I think drafting is really, really fun. I think this implements it in a very interesting and creative way. I want you to go pick yourself up a copy. It's perfect for my shelf. It's perfect for yours if you're looking for a two-player experience with a little bit of meat on the bone. But keep in mind that with Seven Wonders Duel, it's pretty good, but you want some flavor, you want some spice. And that spice comes in the form of Pantheon. If you're just going to get Seven Wonders Duel, I will tell you it is not worth it. If you're going to get Seven Wonders Duel, you're going to spend the extra money and get Pantheon, it is 100% worth it. But you have to make sure that you're going to be playing this more than you're going to be playing Seven Wonders. Expansions abound. I don't know about the new expansion. I'm probably not going to get it because I like what I have. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me on this latest edition of the Hot 100. I want to know what your favorite mythological story is. If there's a word for that, myth. Tell me what your favorite myth is. It can be from any mythology, the Norse, anything like that. I wouldn't mind like a Norse expansion. That would be cool. Give me some Odin up in here. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Go play some games. Wash your goddamn hands. Thank you for goddamn voting. Hope you knew as well. That story earlier about Aphrodite springing from the foam, that is said she is the goddess of love and the most beautiful creature in the world. She banged Ares a lot. And she's also, now correct me if I'm wrong, the goddess of prostitutes. Bring that up next time you have a Greek philosophy class or a story that you're telling, like, oh, do you know what aphrodisiac comes from? Yeah, you want to know where the term hermaphrodite comes from? Has to do with Aphrodite. I'll let you Google that. Also, go play Hades on Switch and PC. It's wonderful. Peace out.